Day one of the Democratic National Convention, we are joining our roundtable. Alex Sink, the former Chief Financial Officer for the state of Florida and former candidate for governor, Christine Jennings, the chairwoman of the Sarasota County Democratic Party, and our own Haley Wilgus. Thank you so much for joining us. We are just finishing the Florida delegation's breakfast on day one, and of course we had a very unfortunate situation when outgoing DNC chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz tried to talk to delegates. Alex, what did you think? What's your reaction to what happened there?
Well, I was disappointed at the reaction of some of the Bernie Sanders delegates who were clearly organized ahead of time and disrupted the ability of Debbie to say what she wanted to say to her hometown delegation. But on the other hand, a lot of cheering and clapping and support for Debbie for 6 years of work that she's done, hard work as the DNC chair.
Haley, what did you see inside that fracas? That's the only thing I could think of in terms of describing it.
It was unbelievable. It was very loud. We were going live on Facebook. We captured the whole thing right from the stage, and I was standing just feet away from Debbie, but I could barely hear what she was saying, even over the PA system. The cheers were very loud. People were very passionate. Even if you don't agree with what they're saying, I think it was actually interesting to see how passionate people are with our political system and how this election is really bringing out a lot of those passions on all sides. So I thought it was kind of interesting to be at an event like this and to see people so passionate about what they believe in.
Christine, did you know this was coming? I mean, I know that there are Bernie supporters out there who, even at this stage, and we talked to a couple of them, who believe when we leave here on Thursday night that Bernie Sanders will be the nominee and not Hillary Clinton. Did you get wind of that in the weeks coming up to this?
I didn't expect this at the breakfast because this all has just occurred. I have been expecting some of this to take place on the floor because there have been many, many rumors that the Bernie people have been organizing and intend on being heard. So it did surprise me at the breakfast because it's always disrespectful not to let someone speak. But Senator Bob Graham did a great job of recognizing Debbie and what she has done for the DNC for the last few years. But it was a disappointment.
Alex, how concerned are you about the optics of this? Because every party wants to have a deliberate message come out of their convention. You know, last week there was a lot of disunity in Cleveland because of what Ted Cruz did. Were you hoping for something a little bit different here?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that what this is going to come down to is the message that Bernie gives his supporters. I understand he's meeting with his delegates this afternoon in advance of his speech tonight. And he's going to be speaking to all of his supporters from around the country tonight. And I believe that the election could hinge on how Bernie's message comes across tonight on primetime television. And my hope is, and my expectation is, that he's going to talk to the American people about the importance of coming together and electing Hillary Clinton to be the next president.
Can he even put out this fire?
Oh, absolutely. I totally believe he can. Look at what Hillary Clinton did for Barack Obama 8 years ago.
Haley, could you were hanging out with members of the Suncoast delegation from Sarasota and Manatee. How would you describe the split? Mostly Hillary supporters, but there are Bernie Sanders supporters here from Sarasota and Manatee.
Well, what I was told from those delegates is that within that group in our area, they are very peaceful about it. They mentioned that in some other areas of the state, and of course other areas of the country, some of the Bernie and Hillary delegates are not getting along. There's a lot of clashes, but in our area on the Suncoast, they said it's been very amicable, very peaceful, and they are seeing each other's differences, but going about it in a nicer way, and they've been able to get along through the process.
Of course, this began in the last couple of days because of the revelations from the WikiLeaks emails, and it does raise a legitimate question about whether the DNC had their thumbs down on the scale in favor of Hillary Clinton. I mean, the emails, they are what they are. When you read those emails, what went through your mind?
Well, there were a couple of people who, by their own admission, went over the top. And you know, Alan, I always say, don't put anything in writing or in an email that you don't want on the front page of the paper. And that rule was not abided by. But the thing that I can say is this, is that we know that Hillary Clinton received millions more votes than Bernie Sanders did. She won this primary election fair and square. And you know, I think that we'll all be together at the end, because the alternative, Donald Trump, is totally unacceptable for our country.
But Christine, you still have those Bernie delegates saying that this whole primary process was rigged. That, I mean, I've seen Bernie delegates talk about in New York State during the primary that somebody was whiting out ballots and putting Hillary's name on it, other than and whiting over Bernie's name. These people, they're saying this, they're on Facebook, they're obviously very, very vocal, and the question is, what kind of impact will this have on the Democrats in the long run?
From what I understand, one of our delegates from Sarasota was all for Bernie, but since Bernie did not win, she is still for Bernie, but she is supporting Hillary. And she is telling me, and she's supposed to send it to me, there's a message of unity that the Bernie supporters, that they want Hillary to read. Now, I don't know if that will get to Hillary Clinton, and I don't know if she will read it if it does get to her, but supposedly that would ease things. But this is totally up to Bernie and no one else. But I don't want us to all focus on Bernie and those delegates. There's a lot more of us here for Hillary and the wonderful Tim Kaine, and I really think that we should focus more on that than we should focus on some of them that are upset with Hillary.
Well, Haley, you know, the polls do show that even now the vast majority of Bernie supporters are going towards Hillary. But there are still those Bernie bus people, just like there are the Never Trump people who are still out there. So it's really a polarized electorate, isn't it?
It definitely is, and what I find interesting is we had Bernie Sanders come out publicly and say he's supporting Hillary Clinton, yet we have his supporters refusing to do the same thing, which is what I find so interesting, which is different than the Ted Cruz situation. You know, he didn't come out and say, I'm for Donald Trump, all my supporters get behind me. He stuck his ground. This is a little different, and we'll have to see what he says this evening to solidify that. I don't know if that will change anything for the delegates, but it's been interesting.
I mean, I guess the question is, should Bernie Sanders done more at this point? Because as one of his supporters just said to me, he may have endorsed Hillary Clinton, but he did not release his delegates. He did not suspend his campaign.
I think everything's okay. I think that it's a process to go through. Remember, we had a very contentious primary when we had Barack Obama versus Hillary Clinton. And there were many Clinton supporters well into the summer, Alan, who were really not enthusiastic about Barack Obama. But at the end of the day, we have an important election. We've got to decide who our next president of the United States is going to be, and who's going to lead our country, and who's going to look after our economy and take care of our foreign affairs. And to me, there's no choice. It's Hillary Clinton.
And Christine, Michelle Obama is speaking tonight. There are a lot of other people. Is that kind of overshadowed for today?
I don't think so. I think it is a great way to kick off this
Michelle.
convention.
Wow.
Are you kidding? Look, girls, we are so excited.
Yeah.
No, we are so happy.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us. It should be an interesting night here at the first day of the Democratic National Convention. We'll be back in just a moment.